When I left a year ago, I did not have an income. My vlog channel was not monetized. All I had was what I left with. Today I'm going to be answering a question that many people have asked me, how I make money. This is not going to be a video about a list of ways that anyone can make money on the road. This is going to be my experience, how I actually make money, the reality of what happens. Many of the things that people have suggested in other videos, I've actually attempted to do, and they just didn't work out for me. So hopefully this will be helpful or enlightening or interesting in some way. This is the second or third, I think it's the third time I try to film this video. And I'm trying not to go on to some babbling tangent about stuff that absolutely bores the majority of people who watch this, because I'm very entrepreneurial minded, and not everybody watching vlog videos, especially van life vlog videos, care about any of that stuff. So I'm going to try to keep it simple this time. I've gone into my story of my financial situation prior to moving into the van in a different video, so I'm going to touch on it quickly, but hopefully not get sucked into it. If you're new here, a year ago I moved into a Sprinter, and recently I sold my Sprinter and I moved into a Dodge Grand Caravan. When I left a year ago, I did not have an income. My vlog channel was not monetized. All I had was what I left with. I had the stuff in my van. I had, I think, a little bit of cash in the bank. I had quite a bit of cryptocurrency, and I had a balance available on my credit cards. I'm sure I'm going to get comments of people calling me stupid, saying that I didn't do things the way that they think I should have done them or whatever. Save your energy, because it doesn't matter what you think or say, because I did things the best I could with what I had and what I was experiencing. I wasn't just like, hey, let's go do van life, this will be fun. I was leaving abuse. I was leaving a situation that was so extremely toxic that it was just making it harder and harder for me to make money, harder and harder for me to wake up in the morning, just extremely difficult in every possible way. It was destroying my health, destroying my mentality, my emotional, mental health as well. So I did things the best way I possibly could in the moment with what I had going on. The plan was always to figure it out. Why? Because that's what I do. I figure it out. I'm sure you've noticed that if you've been watching my vlog, and if you haven't and you go back and you watch more episodes, you'll see that no matter what I'm faced with, I figure it out. So that was always the plan, to figure it out. So over the course of the year, I was basically doing what I needed to do to make sure that that sounds really bad. I was doing what I needed to do to get by and also incur an income or grow an income. And you may have noticed that there have been, if you've been watching the vlog, you may have noticed that there have been several points over the past year that have made it very difficult for me to do normal things like going to get a job and blah, blah, blah. The heat in the summer with the cats, that was an issue. Then when I tried applying to places, they just never called me back. And, you know, that's part of why I want to touch on the things, why I want to tell you guys about my experience instead of just a listing a bunch of stuff that you can do, is because a lot of people have listed many things that you can do in a van to make money, and they did not work out for me. I've tried and they did not work out for me. And at first I'm like, okay, maybe it's just me, maybe I'm just, what, people don't like me, I don't know what it is. But I've spoken to other people since, and part of the reason is my age. Part of the reason is my work experience because of my age. So I've heard from other people, due to all the changes in the economy recently and so on, that when they try to apply, people don't call them back either for the same reasons, either their age or their work experience or whatever. My resume probably looks absolutely ridiculous for people because I had been working for myself for like several years, and then suddenly I stopped working for myself, and it's like, without explaining them all the complications of living through abuse and all that, it doesn't necessarily make a whole lot of sense. And there's also the fact that when I try to give references for jobs that I've worked prior to that, it was so long ago, I'm pretty sure those companies don't even exist anymore. So there's nobody to call for a reference, and it just looks really bad. And so, there's stuff like that. But then if I go to a place like, I have not tried McDonald's, it's possible McDonald's would be the one place that actually gave me an opportunity. But I get a sense that if you're going in with an empty resume, like this is your first job, then they're going to take your age into consideration as well. Because it makes more sense if you have no work experience and you're young than it does when you're old. And if I'm not saying obviously I have work experience, it's just that my resume looks bizarre, you know what I mean? So it's difficult. I have always been an entrepreneur. There have been many points in my life, gaps on my resume that don't look like they make sense because I'm an entrepreneur. There was a time when I was promoting shows and events for like halls and the Hard Rock Cafe and bars and stuff like that, and I don't know, like my resume just looks weird is basically it. So I fall back on what I know, and what I know is hustling. I've tried even in my past to be a waitress, and I wouldn't even use those jobs as a reference anyways, because they were, first of all, so I didn't last very long. I am a horrible waitress. I just can't do it. And I think that it's the way my brain works. I'm neurodivergent. I promise you that I may or may not have some level of autism. I don't know, but I know that there's something going on, and I don't understand how to do things that normal people understand how to do, or what is expected of me. So I will get fired for things, and I will have absolutely no idea what I did wrong, but it's because they were expecting me to do things or be a certain way, and I just didn't understand what they were expecting. For me, it's, you give me the instructions and I'm going to get it done in the most efficient way possible so that my time isn't wasted. But a lot of these places, they expect you to like toil or something, and I just don't know. I don't understand how to do it. So I just don't. And I fall back again. I fall back on what I know, which is hustling, is entrepreneurship. So my plan has been, I was just going to start making money online again. And I tried getting my courses back up. But as the year progressed, the economy is also changing and making things that I used to do more difficult. And so I ended up closing down my school because there's expenses that go along with having these things available. And I will get them back up, but I couldn't do it then because it's a weird transition where I have to grow my platform. And so I'm trying to cut all my unnecessary expenses until my platform is big enough that the conversion rates for sales make sense to put these things like my courses or whatever back up, to start paying for these expenses again. I realized I said I wasn't going to go on some weird tangent about business, and now I'm doing that anyways. But whatever. So I started like doing stuff online again and trying to get that running, and realized that it wasn't working. And I just kept changing and adapting. I put up my merch store, which I recently took down because it wasn't selling enough. And I know I could have promoted it more, but I also recognized that people's purchasing habits were changing. And so because there's expenses with that, I took that down as well temporarily until maybe next year at some point when my platform is big enough that it makes sense to put it back up and pay those expenses. So I was going in one direction trying to make money online, and then I just cut everything down again to reduce my expenses. And in the meantime, what I was doing was selling my stuff, doing old income taxes that I had never done, which is part of the abuse that I experienced, where I was basically discouraged from being financially independent and from doing normal adult things and stuff like that. So my income taxes were not done for several years, and so I just did those and I got my income tax returns. So that helped a lot. I went through most of the cryptocurrency that I still had saved, and I maxed out my credit cards eventually, but that was mostly due to the road trip from hell that happened early this year. So basically, I pulled a Hail Mary where I was just trying to incur income however I could. Also, there's, you can get welfare and stuff like that, or government assistance in ways like that, which I'm not going to get into in this video because of my current situation with narcissists in my life, but eventually I will get into the details around that. But just to say that one of the things that you can do is get welfare. And I was just trying to pull in money any way that I could to keep myself afloat while I tried to figure out an income, like a steady income, like an online thing. And I just ended up recognizing that my vlog channel was my best bet, because that was the one thing that was making more money than costing, and it was growing. And so I cut all my expenses down, shut my school down, shut my merch store down. Now all I got is the Patreon and the YouTube channel, and the YouTube channel is starting to pick up, so I am making enough money at this point to keep myself afloat. I'm very, very focused on it right now to get it to the point where I'm comfortable with my income and have some coming in to be able to pay more of my debt and pay for more repairs or whatever else. When I sold the Sprinter, I made a few $1,000s off of that. I purchased the Caravan for $900 plus a couple hundred in tax. So there was a difference that I made in profit throughout that process of changing vehicles. Just as always, something that I do for money that comes in, and it's not like some steady thing like most average people will go to a job and every week they know that they're making X amount of money. I've never even liked that very much. It's nice to know that you have money, but I find it very boring. It's not challenging. There's a cap to how much money I can make, and I don't like to live. I like living on the edge. I don't know. So basically that's it. To recap, I had room on my credit cards that I ended up maxing out. I had some cash savings that I ended up going through. I had cryptocurrency that I ended up burning through. I sold my stuff. I did my income taxes, and I sold my Sprinter. And I have the YouTube channel and a Patreon. And some people have sent me, early on, they were sending me donations here and there, and that was really cool. Thank you very, very much. Honestly, I did need it at the time, and I'm extremely grateful. But I've since then shut my Patreon and all of that because of multiple reasons. I knew that people were going to want to give me donations, and I didn't want to be in a position where I felt like I owed people a version of myself that they liked. And I just wanted to be authentic and real and myself to the fullest possible extent without feeling like I have to tailor myself or censor myself to keep people happy or to not hurt people that tried to help me that may not like who I really am. I also didn't want to feel like I was emotionally manipulating anyone or pressuring anyone to help me. And I didn't want anyone else to think that I was doing that to anyone. And also throughout this process, what I really want to do is show people that it is possible for them to figure it out, to figure out anything, any obstacle, any problem, any whatever, that there is a way to figure it out. And I felt like taking donations from my viewers would be cheating at that, because I can't tell you, don't worry, you'll figure it out, when I'm figuring it out by taking your money. It doesn't make any sense. So I wanted to make sure that I did it in the most organic way possible, so that other people without a vlog channel, without viewers that would send the money, could get themselves out of a bad situation that they might feel hopeless in, and actually get to a place where they're making things work. I'm on the cusp of being able to live solely off of YouTube. And you wouldn't think so, because my channel's still relatively small, but I do get quite a bit of views for the size of my channel. And it's about the views, it's not about the subscribers. But also, apparently, it doesn't take that much to make some real money on YouTube. So I am going to be focusing much more, doubling down, tripling down, tripling down on my YouTube channel, and getting it to a point where I'm very comfortable with my income. It was the right choice. For those of you who saw the video, where at the end of the video I explained that I had applied to a bunch of jobs and no one wanted to hire me, and so I was going to do something stupid and I was just going to focus on YouTube. I don't think I specified that, but basically I chose to focus on building my channel, taking that leap of faith, because at the time I was not making enough money to survive on it, and I am making quite a bit more money now than I was at that point. And so I'd say even in a month from now, it grows quite quickly at this point. It was the right decision to take a leap of faith and focus on the thing that I really wanted to create, what my heart wanted to create, instead of taking my time and energy away from that and putting it into working for someone else who was going to be paying me minimum wage to do whatever, because I was too afraid to trust myself to figure it out. I chose to trust myself to figure it out, and I figured it out. If you have any other questions, please don't be afraid to leave them in the comments. I will answer them. If you're going to be a douchebag, you know the drill. I will block you. Most people recently, though, have been really, really nice, and I really, really appreciate your comments. I have not been attracting many douchebags at all lately, and I'm loving it. Thanks for watching, guys. If you have any questions, like I said, leave them below, and I will talk to you very, very soon. If you have any suggestions for videos, also let me know. I will be doing a van tour soon. Okay, bye.